Hi guys, I just wanted to put in an apology for the focus issues in the second part of our Weave Along series. I tend to do these videos on my own, so I can't check particularly well if the video is in focus or not. So I really do apologise for that. Hopefully you still find it useful. If there are sections in particular you need me to go back over, please let me know. Obviously, when we do the Weave Along, I'll look at potentially filming that section again. What I really did want to show you though that was not in focus is the Lofty Fibers rattle that Thread Collective is going to be stocking. It lets you have an empirical option for these looms that often only come with a metric. If you don't already have a rattle, it's also a really good option. I particularly like it because of the depth of these tines, I guess you could call them. I find I have a lot less issues with my threads jumping between. They're really easy to click on and off to the loom. Now I've said that, it's going to be nice and secure for me. There we go. So take that off there. When they're transported or for storage, you can actually unclip these sections apart as well. If I ordered a few more sections, I could get it to fit the delta properly. And they just click on with these little things that they will come with, and they fit over the existing bits on the Louette. I presume that the other looms they print these for, it's all specifically printed so that it will fit for you. The other good thing about these is you can get these rattle covers. So as you are spacing your warp, you can pop them over the top so you don't have to risk your threads from jumping out or your threads getting tangled that you haven't organised yet. So yeah, hopefully that's given you a much better look at what that Lofty Fibers rattle does look like. And if you have any questions about it, please fire away. I've used it for a few warps now that I've put through my table loom. As you know, this is the first one I am doing on my Delta. So it's all a learning experience at the moment. Hi guys, Samantha here from Thread Collective. I'm just about to start part 2 of our weaving journey into making a bandana scarf or a scarf, depending on what you've chosen. If you missed part 1, I'd suggest going back and watching that. That includes information on how to wind your warp to get to this point. So you'll need your chains that we wound. You'll want some leaf sticks to suit your loom, as well as some warp separators. It's a good idea to have some sturdy string handy for holding up your leaf sticks if you don't already have another mechanism, such as helping hands to do that. It's a good idea to have a pair of scissors. You'll also want some measuring tape so that you can find the center point on your loom. Now, not everyone will be warping their loom the same way, so it's a good idea to check the instructions that come with your loom. Obviously, if you've got a table loom, you might have a rattle that's not affixed to the top of your loom, or you might, it just depends on the brand. So you may be spacing your warp off loom. So yes, this will give you the general idea, but definitely refer back to your manufacturer's instructions in case your loom's different from mine. So I am using the Louette Delta for this project. It's the first time I've used this loom. It's been sitting in my studio waiting for me due to some health issues. And I bought this one over the spring because I'm quite tall and it's just particularly well suited to tall people. So yeah, let's get started. One more thing, sorry, before I get started, I wanted to let you know about these little things here. So my Louette Delta and many of the other Louette looms come with the metric system on top, but obviously when weaving we use a lot of imperial measurements. So there's a lot of inches instead of centimetres. So if you're choosing to work in inches, you can purchase this attachment from Thread Collective, and it is a Lofty Fibers rattle, and it will stick on top of the existing rattle that I have here. So this is in imperial inches, this one's in metric centimetres. So all we have to do to attach it is click these on. This is only short because I actually pulled it off my Louette Jane. So pop a few of these in here. And these are just for holding this in place. Click this in. I'm just going to check with my tape measure that I have enough space either side and that I've centered it well enough to do the job. So I'm sure you know that a rattle is for spacing out your warp, and that's important so that when we get to the weaving part, everything's the right width. All right, that'll be good. Okay, so first step, I need to slide some of these off because I need to get my warp onto this stick. And spacing wise, I'm just going to double check. Some people have like a metal rod that they use that they can slide the warp onto first, and then they just have to tie it to this. I do not have one of those, so measure this up. There's my center point there. I have a, what did we do? A 25-ish inch warp, so about 12 inches. I am just going to pop it into this section here rather than spacing it on that one, but if you prefer, you can have a little bit on this side as well. I don't think it's enough to make much of a difference. So I'll pick up one of the warp chains that I have my border colour in, because I'm doing an external one first. And because I have crosses at both ends, it doesn't matter particularly which one I use, but I'm going to choose the end with the least amount of loose threads, so where I had the singles, so that looks like that's this end. So I'm going to go with this one. And so what you're doing is making sure that you don't have any twist in your cross, for one, and we are finding the first section of your cross there. So to make that easier, you've got your little strings to help separate that out, just like so. So you can see we've got a nicely separated warp there. There's no threads on the wrong side. I've got my colour to the outside of my warp, so I'm just going to go ahead and slide that onto my stick, like so. Now, the next one I need to do is the one that's just the solid main colour. It's our central one, and because it is the central one, I do need to divide it so that I can put one of the other Texsolve threads on to secure this stick for me. So same thing again, you can see I've got a loose thread here from one end where it was sort of the end cross, but I made sure that I had none of that at the other end. So opening up this end, there's my little thread there. So there we go, it's really handy to just triple check that you do not have any threads crossing the wrong way. Obviously it doesn't matter which way I do this one around because it is all the same colour. So I'm going to slide that on first, and then I'm just going to look at my counting here. So I should have just over 80 threads. So we're looking at about 40 threads being left in the centre part. So I'm just going to count out 4 sections of my counting threads that we made during the winding the warp process. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to use my fingers. I'll just pause so I can move the closer, and hopefully the camera tracks for me. So I'm going to count out 4 sections, so you can see my counting threads here. And I know that I had 10 threads per section, which is why I know that's half. So, about 40. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm just using my fingers. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's 100% exact, just to separate that, like so. I'm actually going to pull this half back off, sit that over my wrist, and I'm going to bring up this bit of Texsolve here, make a loop so that I can slide it on, like so. And then I can pop the other half on, and that's how you get that centered. Obviously, much easier if you have a second stick designed to be attached to this one. All right, and then we just need to stick our last one on. So, got it here. And for this one, we need to make sure our peacock color is facing the outside again because we're back to a border. So first, identifying which end is the end that's designed for this. So when I was warping, I kept this in mind that I wanted one end to not have any loose threads so that they could all securely go on. But I do remember that on this one, I had to make a loop to secure to the peg, I believe. So I'm just going to have to look for that little loop. So separating these out first, just giving these a little tug, and that just helps me identify all the warp threads are on the right path. There we go, just like so. Checking what I have at this end, whether this has my loop. Don't know that it does. Oh, no, here we go. What's that one? Check this end. Unless I'm misremembering, which is a very distinct possibility. Right, here we go. What have we got here? No, it is this end. All right. I'm going to double check that it's not on the other sections. Aha, it is. It was on this last section by the looks of it. Where is it? This is why sometimes it's good to not let a few days go past before you walk, because it is very easy to forget these things. Just giving a little tug, because if there is a loose loop, it should collapse down for me. There it is. It was way back on that first section, so I'll fix that in a moment. I've got this one opened, and I need to make sure we're not twisted. Pop that on there, and I'll get these last two sections on, and then we'll go back and fix that other bit. And so, quite an easy fix. Just pop these two off. If I'm lucky, they'll keep their little slip bits there. And slide this one off. And I just made that loop because I had an odd number of threads on this one, if you remember. So I just want to make sure it goes over the least stick, so it's secure and doesn't come loose while I'm weaving. You could also tie it on separately, that's up to you, but I just find it easier to make a little loop there. Ideally, you don't get stuck with any ends like that, but sometimes it's necessary. All right, put these last loops on. There we go. On to the next bit. So before I move the camera back, I just wanted to show you this part of my loom because it will probably look very different to yours. I opted to get a sectional beam on my Delta because I usually do really long warps, and I like to be able to just load 1 inch sections at a time because I'm often stopping and starting, and that gives me the best tension for these big warps. So I invested in that, but I did also add on a plain beam for the times that I'm doing plain beam warping like now, and like you'll very likely be doing. So that's why I have this one here and this on here. So don't stress that yours doesn't look the same. They still function in pretty much the same manner. I don't have an easy release friction break, I think it's called, on this part, but I do on this part. So I'll just be having to jump up and manually move my warp forwards a bit more than you do. All right, let's go on to the next bit. Okay, so then we take our leaf sticks and we're going to pop one on each side of the cross. So I have one cross here. This one doesn't matter so much if I get it in that loop that I created earlier for that random thread. Making sure we're going through the same part of the cross in each of these sections though, like so. And rest it there on an angle and it won't go anywhere, hopefully. We take our other leaf stick and we pop it through the other half of our cross. So you can separate these with the strings that we added during the winding of the warp. So I've got one of my cross threads there, I've got another one there. So just tugging apart, making sure that none are sticking in the wrong spot. And the last one, 3. We do not want to take off these threads just yet. We want to make sure our leaf sticks are secured before we do any removal. 3. Okay, now that we've got these onto our leaf sticks, the next step is to secure them. So some people like to do a binder clip ring, or they might have another device that they can use for this. But I am just going to use these threads the traditional way. So I've got one thread. I'm going to take it through the bottom of the one closest to the loom and up. Then I go down and up again. You might like to fold your string a little bit to make it easier for this part. It's up to you. Now that I've said that, I've made it more difficult on myself, I think. Up. There we are. All right, so got that one done. And then we're going to do the opposite with our second tail. So on the last one we went up and up, this one we're going down and down. So I'm going up through the middle of them and down again into that second hole. There we are. So this end is now mostly secure. What have I done here though? Wrapped around it. There we are, tying myself in knots. Okay, just nice and snug, and just securing that onto your back beam or wherever works on your loom. So when you do this, maybe do a double knot just to avoid, so I'm going to do a double bow because I find them easier to untie, but that will just avoid unnecessary unthreading of it, hopefully. You'll want to do it more securely if you have children or pets in your studio, because after we get this secured, we will we'll be taking out the threads that are holding our cross in place. So we want to make sure we're not going to be risking any mishaps after this point. All right, so same again, going up through one hole, up through the next hole, and then down, and down. Okay, and then we can slide up a little bit. And we're, again, just securing them into one of the parts of the back beam. You do want to have a bit of tension on this, but not too much. It is good for the leaf sticks to be able to move a little. All right, we're nearly ready for the next bit. So at this point, this is nice and secure. So I can take out my cross holding threads, not my counting threads. So I'll get my scissors. At this point you will have to cut these threads, otherwise it gets difficult to space your warp. But the cross is preserved now, so worst case, and you do need to change something, you've realised something's twisted, so many things can happen, you can always retie your crosses, take your warp off and fix that up if necessary. Another thread here somewhere, I believe. It's hiding from me. There it is. Where is it? Nope. I'll find it soon, I'm sure, if I'm missing one. Okay. Our leaf sticks are secured and we're attached to the loom. We're going to start spacing the warp. So as I said before, you may be doing this on a table or you may be doing this an alternate way on your loom. The rattle might be on the back beam. There are so many different variations of looms out there. So I'm just going to take these rattle covers off. If you do not have rattle covers, you can use elastic hairbands, rubber bands or yarn to secure your threads as you go. It's really important, especially if you have to walk away, because they so easily jump out of the rattle. And because we'll be removing the counting cross as we go, it just means a little bit more work if you have to redo it. So we want to avoid that if possible. So yeah, let's get started. I'll get my scissors handy. Now, this is a 1 inch rattle. I've got 1 inch sections. Sorry, it's not a 1 inch rattle, it's empirical though, that's the word, empirical. So I believe, jog my memory on how many per inch. 1, 2, 3, 4 bits per inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. So then we're spacing out our 10 threads across that, so it's not going to quite line up maths-wise, but we can do sort of, what would the maths be on that? 2, 3, 2, 3. So I'm going to snip very carefully the first bit of my counting chain to release the first section. I'm also going to quickly check where I need to start warping. This is my center point. Just going to have a quick think on how far out I need to be. I think it's 25 inches. Just pull it up on my app. Hopefully. Okay. So I can do about 12.5 inches from the center point, or just under, sorry, but we'll start one section there. All right, just going to pop, got a little bit of timber here that I can use as a little boxing, so I know that I'm going to be working from there. Okay, so I've got my first little section of 10 threads. I'm going to have to undo some of my chain to make this work because it's such a short chain. And I'm going to pop some rattle covers on because that will minimise it getting caught up on me. So I really do enjoy this setup. I can just click these on too. Yep, there we go. Okay, got my section there. And this little bit is so small that instead of cutting my choke tie, I'm going to give myself a bit more room to play by loosening up my plain beam. There we are. Okay. Let's see if that gives me enough room. It may not, but worth a try. No, I'm going to have to snip the choke tie. And that's okay. It's a nice short warp. Got another choke tie as well, and we'll do some nice tensioning as we wind this onto the loom. Being very careful when I snip this choke tie, not to snip any threads. I usually have tinier scissors than this, but they've gone walkabouts. Okay. Untwist there. And so we said we were going to do 2. Very easy to figure out your counting with your cross as well. You can slide this over as well. And then we were going to do 3. So I'm just looking at my cross and I can easily spot 3 threads from that setup, from that cross. 2, 3, 2, 3. And that is our first inch. And so I'm just going to slide that one along there. And then I don't lose it. If you do not have rattle covers, this You might want to do a couple of inches before you secure it with either string or an elastic band. All you have to do is, I don't have an elastic band here, but same. Pretend this is elastic. So you would pop it over one of your rattle nails or sections, like so, and bring it along, like so. And that just stops your threads from being able to jump out. So you can either, tie some string, do some rubber bands, whatever works for you. All right, next section. Two, three, two, and three. Just going to pop one of the covers under that so it doesn't get tangled. And we're just going to continue on in this manner. So I'm just going 2, 3, 2, 3 all the way along, again, because this is empirical now. If you have a metric one, depending on how many sections you have in that, will depend on how many threads you will do. You may find you end up with a slightly odd number that you need to add an extra thread in. So you might end up being like 2, 2, 3 or 4, 4, 2, like so many different options. If you have trouble working it out, let me know. I've just noticed that I have skipped a hole in my rattle, so I'm just going to stop and go back and fix that. And then I might go into time lapse to speed this up for you guys in a minute. Just get a quick shot of it from a different angle, just to make sure that you've got a really clear view of how I'm spacing that in the rattle. Okay, so just a different view so you can see the rattle being threaded. So I've got my caps here to prevent my threads from jumping out. Again, elastic bands, thread, whatever you have, just please secure them as you go so that you don't lose all this hard work that you've been doing. Get my next section out and continuing in the same pattern. In my case, because I'm using empirical and it's sectioned into 4 slots per inch, I am counting mine out at 2, 3, 2, 3. 2. 3. If at any time you miss a slot, please go back and fix it. You just have to jump your threads along. You want a really nicely spaced warp, because the more time you spend on this and sort of the better you do on this part, the less issues you might run into down the track during the weaving process. Okay. Just a different angle for the last of this spacing of the warp threads. I'm hoping that you can see the cross a bit more clearly that I'm taking the threads from. The whole purpose of it is to keep them in some sort of order so that we minimise tangles or threads having to travel too far across, which would change our tension. It will also make it easy when we get to threading to pick off the threads in order. So just continuing on, I'm still working 2 by 2 with my threads because if you remember I wound most of the grey section of my warp holding 2 strands, and I'm not worried about single strands getting crossed over a little bit, especially at this end of the loom. If they're crossed at the front of the loom, that's a big problem. So getting my next inch ready, double checking how many I need. So I finished on 3, so I need 2. And 3, 2, and 3. sliding my cover across. I'm not sure where all my covers are hiding at the moment, so I am having to help this not be tangled over the rattle. You could put a piece of paper there if you like, but as we're not working with that many threads at this point, I'm just leaving it. Next inch. To 2 threads. And this is a good example of a cross thread there. I've taken the wrong one. So I'll go back. I've got 1, 2. Three, 2, and 3. And we have just 4 inches to go. Two, 3, 2, 3. Two, 3, 2, 3. Second to last now. We're going back to single threading as well for the cross. 2, 3, and that's all the grey threads done in that section. Back to the peacock. 2, 3. I must have skipped taking. Oh no, there we go. 2, 3. I just didn't count correctly. Sliding this along. And I don't quite have enough rattle cover for the last section, so I will just tie some string on top of this last bit when I'm done. So hopefully you can see more clearly here where our elastics are running through. We have this cross occurring, and that makes it really easy to pick off our threads in order. If we accidentally take from the wrong section, it can't come through. So just something to be mindful of as you're spacing the warp, and then again as we start the threading process. So I'm up to 3 threads in this bit. 2, 3. Oops, clumsy fingers. 1, 2. And then we have 3. And there we have it. I'll just get, see if one of these bits of yarn is long enough, yes, to secure this last section. to make sure nothing jumps out as we then wind on to the back beam, like so. So the next step is to wind this warp onto the back beam. Now for this section, you will want your warp separators, which could be sticks, they could be cardboard. There are quite a few options there that you could use. I'm just going to put mine down here. And they're important to use so that your warp isn't sort of sticking and rearranging itself as you wind on. They'll help give you a nice shape to your warp without layers kind of spreading. And it also helps maintain tension so that your TechSolve and any other structures don't impose extra size in areas which would then alter your tension as you wind a warp. I'm just going to get a couple more warp sticks. This is a very short warp, so I don't anticipate that we will need many, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And I have plenty of them, so I may as well use them. All right. Okay, so then I'm going to move to the front of the loom, and I'm just going to gently tug and warp through, make sure none of my threads are jumping there. Ha, look what I found. That's what I was looking for earlier. Put it out of the way. Don't want anything there for the warp to get caught on if I can help it. Some nice gentle tugs. So we can try and have the whole warp on the same page. Okay. I am going to wind a bit on to deal with these threads. I am going to have to adjust the camera angle a bit throughout so that you guys can see all of the bits going on. In there. Now, wool can be a sticky warp, so at this point, some people prefer to take the leaf sticks out if they have maintained their cross at the other end, and that is my preference. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now that I've got everything nice and secure. I'm happy with my rattle spacing. Nothing's jumping out. So yeah. Just undo here. So you might like to make sure you have two crosses in two kinds of warps in particular. One is a sticky warp, such as wool and mohair, and the other is in a fragile warp. So threads that will deteriorate quite readily with abrasion. And it's not normally fibre that will dictate that, you'll find. It's often the twist that the mill has put into it, or the spinner, and sort of fibre length and how many plies there are. Like, there are so many factors. So I'm not going to tell you to always do it for wool or always do it for cashmere or something, because it might not be true. So I always tend to put two crosses in, so if I decide at the loom it's going to be a sticky warp, I can sort it out then. I forgot there was a door behind me. Okay. All right. And now, because it is a short warp, I'm already going to have to look at snipping the cross. I don't know that I'll need many of my sticks at all. All right. I've just snipped the cross. I have not snipped, not the cross, don't snip the cross, sorry. I've snipped my choke ties. So we are snipping the choke ties, not the cross. Oh my goodness, guys, the wrong thing. And that's just so we can finish unwinding. And you know what, probably almost finished here. It's so short, I don't think it's even going to go around the back beam once, because my back beam for my plain beam is all the way down there. So do just a little more. I want to make sure our threads are nice and even still, even though we're not doing much of a warp. If you're doing the scarf version, you will find that you do have to do a bit more of this. So just making sure I'm nice and even. And then I will put the lipsticks back in for this cross at this end. Okay, our warp is spaced. Let's get these lipsticks back in, wherever I've put them, over there. Now, because my warp is so short, I am quite conscious that when I bring it back, the weight from the rod could cause it all to drop. So I'm going to pop my leaf sticks back in on this side of the rattle. Normally, if you'd wound a bit on, it wouldn't be an issue, but because I have so much space between my back beam and my plain beam, it's just not feasible with a warp this short. And that's the joy of, you know, getting to know this new to me loom. So, get to learn its quirks. So I am sorry that I did not just get to show you a bit more winding on. I did want to do that, but I suppose when we do the full weave along, I'll either use a different loom or I'll do the scarf option so that I have a longer warp to place. So as before, just checking that I have got a clear cross. I'm not missing any threads as I go. And then what I'll do is retie this up on the threads at the back, but I will secure my leaf sticks together first, in case this all gets pulled as I go. That bit. Across on the other side. Yeah. Nice and clear. And the last one. the last section. So if I had binder clips, that's where I'd do that, but I don't. So I will instead take my threads, and it's the same thing again, just making sure that I go through in the right order. I'll just check that you guys can see what I am doing in case you're in the same situation as me with a short wall. So I think you should be able to see well enough. I'm using the string that I already secured to my castle, and because I really want to make sure when I take these down to here, they stay in this orientation. I don't want them flipping over. So I'm going to thread it as if they were back there. So I would start with the one towards the loom first. So down and down. And then following up with the other thread in the up and up sequence. And because I am running the risk of potentially having this drop, I'm going to secure these just with a simple knot at the moment, and I can tighten them further when we're back there as needed. But that just means kicking my thread bin. Just means we'll keep it all in order. So I just do the same at this end. And making sure we go in the same order. So we're working with the one towards the loom because that's how it would be if we were threading it behind this way. Up and up, and I do apologise, you probably can't actually see me at the moment. I will fix that momentarily. Up and up. Move back a bit, ready for as we take the least sticks and move them into position. Okay, so I just need to do that other least stick now. What you could also do for extra security is create a sling with elastic or thread, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. And so same again on this side, but the opposite. So I just did up and up, so I'm making sure I go through that one at the front first, and I'll be going down, up in the middle bit, and then down through the least stick. And so even though I'm not showing you what I wanted to show you, I can show you something else, and hopefully it's helpful for you in the future. I'll just do a loose notch, to make sure we're nice and safe there. Okay, now to make a sling, I don't have any elastic out here at the moment, but I do have plenty of string. So I'm just taking some, snip, half a loop around your beam at the top here, or around your stick, doesn't matter either way. And then just, I've taken both threads underneath, and then I'm taking the thread, I'm splitting it, going around to tie the knot. And this is going to prevent this from dropping on me as well. Again, just taking my thread through. Didn't do a very good job folding that one in half though. Go through like so. And then splitting around. As long as it's secure, it doesn't really matter what knot you use. You just don't want that all falling and ruining all that hard work. Okay, that part's done. So now I'm going to take all of my rattle covers off. All these little accessories that I've been resting on my shafts. And I'm going to carefully take my cross and help guide these threads out of the rattle. Just do it carefully, make sure we don't miss any, because if we miss any and we tug a bit too tightly and there's only one thread there, it will likely snap. As I mentioned, I think in the first video, one thread is weak, but many together are very strong. Missed untying that cover, there we go. Making sure we're clear. Right. There we go. And so I've got these knots here, so I'm not worried about my cross being lost. I'm going to tug this through, and I'm going to see if I can get this to sit a bit higher for as I get to the threading of the loom. So put that there for now. And just untying the little knot I made before. I'd like to keep this thread attached to my loom so I can keep using it for many weavings to come, rather than wasting thread. All of my little scraps on the floor I gather up at the end of each day, and I pop in a special scrap bin that I can then use. So when I have enough, I can either use it for stuffing a cushion, or sometimes I pick bits out to add to my spinning bats. Make some really cool textured spinning.